Have you ever just met somebody and you think, oh my God, we just click? And vice versa. Have you ever met somebody and just thought, I don't know what it is, but I can't put my finger on it. It's just not right for me. Well, that's all about energy and reading it. So let's chat about it right now. Check it out. Hey everybody, and welcome back to episode 30, 30 of the Positivity Experience. I am your host, Lori, and I am back from Florida, and it was great. We had a great time down there. Florida is just such a great place to go. I don't really know, though, that I can't say I wouldn't want to live there. I would want to maybe 6 months out of the year. It was just a little hot. It wasn't as crazy as I thought it would be because it's not quite August, but it was definitely humid, which made coming back, came back about 1:30 in the morning on yesterday. I'm recording this on Sunday. Usually I have these well recorded ahead in advance, but I was on vacation, and when I was there, I didn't have my microphone. It was a whole big thing. So I'm doing it a little later on a Sunday night. No big deal. Happens. And, it was just great to come back and just feel the weather and be a little bit more appreciative. And it was funny because even Sienna said, we got a new kitten yesterday. And as we were going down to get the new kitten, she said, wow, I kind of missed home. I kind of missed it. I really appreciate it. And I think it's the weather too, right? Because I'm in the Northeast, and it's great because we have those 4 seasons, and I'm in Maryland, and they call it Little America because you have mountains really close by. You have, within 2 hours, mountains, you have the beach, you have kind of everything at one time. So in the summer you can go to the beach, in the winter you can go skiing, and you don't have to leave the state. So it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, so we were in Florida and we went to Miami, and it was beautiful, and I loved Miami. It's just so great. But we stayed on the Gulf side at one of my clients' home, and it was just so sweet of her to let me have it for my birthday back in April. And we went there, and it was just a really good time. But it's always good to come back, and it's like an energy reset, right? Which is what we're talking about in this episode. But before I talk about that, I got to tell you about the kitten because it's still energy, and the kitten is so cute. His name is Ezra, and I know if you follow me on Instagram, and my Instagram will be in the show notes of this episode. But if you follow my Instagram, you probably saw him on my Insta stories or on my Snapchat or even on my TikTok. And he is adorable. He is actually not my cat. That's a lie. He's my daughter's cat. She named him Ezra, E-Z-R-A, Ezra. But he's also my cat. I just remember this is your emotional support cat. And if you missed that episode, that's episode 28. And we talk a lot about the self-harm. And, I've been kind of feeling like I've been holding my breath for the last couple weeks. And we have several planets that are in retrograde, not Mercury. And so it's shifting all of the energy for bringing up shadow work. So if you feel like you've made progress and then you feel like, holy shit, what's happened? Why do I feel like I've taken steps back? You have not. You're still moving forward. There's just more things for you to process and more things for you to heal. So keeping that in mind and understand that energy in general, and I'm going to do something with a sound bowl later on in this episode that I want you to hear, because energy is all done on sound. How you can balance your energy is done through meditation, through grounding. I use crystals, but also sound bowls. And I'm going to use just one, just so you can kind of get the concept of it. And if you've heard any other binaural beats, this is not unfamiliar to you. But we'll do that later on in the episode. But energy work is a giant part to what I do. So you hear a lot of more of the psychology aspect of the things that I do, which is great and I love it. But my most favorite part of life is energy work and just balancing energy and the Reiki that I do and getting your vibrations in tune. And I know it sounds very new age, and I'm here for it. I'm down for it. Yes, I hug trees. Matter of fact, I did that while I was in Florida. I will hug a tree. I will save a spider. I'm that girl, right? And so I just feel like it's really good karma, and I feel like it's really good for your energy. So everything has energy. So before we start talking about relationships and energy, I just want to talk to you in general about how you would sort of evaluate your energy. So keep in mind this: if you're vibrating low, you're going to attract low vibrators. This does not mean that these are bad people. This does not mean that you are a bad person. This just means that people are vibrating in a low vibration. Low vibration people have anxieties, depressions, overthinking, all of the things that I've had most of my life, overthinking, all of those things come into play. Okay. And that's low vibration, where high vibration is very zen, very right now, very like no F's to give, but in a healthy way, not in an angry way, not living for other people, like really healing, right? And when you elevate your vibration, you will attract people of that same vibration. So very often, I guess we're just going to talk about relationships now. I said later, it's going to be now. And very often when we are in a relationship, and it doesn't even have to be a love relationship, by the way. These can be friendships, these can be family members. It doesn't really matter. And when your energy, right? Like very often you'll try to make something work. Haven't you ever had that? It could be, like I said, in a regular friendship too, where you're like, damn, like this started off really good. Like, I feel like this should really work, but it's not working. And you're trying to encourage the other person and you want them to go to therapies and it's just not working and you just can't figure it out and you can't really let it go. And so you are trying to get somebody to align with you. That is not ever going to serve your best and highest good. Because pretend with me for a minute. This is going to be a significant other. You and your significant other you're just not compatible anymore. Like you're just really not compatible and you're really freaking out about it and you're angry because you once were and now you feel like you're not and you're trying to make it happen. Okay, so now let's say that you force, by nagging, your partner, doesn't matter who they are, to go into therapy. And you're forcing this, right? You're forcing the hand, which means the person is not going to do what you think that you're going to drag the person there kicking and screaming. And then that person is going to be like, okay, fine. I'm just going to sit here and listen. They're not. They don't even want to be there. They're just there because you kind of wore them down, right? Or they're trying to do it so they can say, listen, I went to therapy. It didn't work. It's still not working for us, right? And so understanding you cannot force someone to go to therapy. That's never going to serve you in your best and highest good. I mean, of course, if they're a child, if they're children, you can encourage it. But here's the deal. You can't make them go to therapy and get out of therapy what you want them to get out of therapy. That's trying to change and control somebody's energy. Right. And I mean, like I said, in the self-harm podcast 2 episodes ago with what's going on in my house is I can't make her do something. I mean, you just can't. I mean, you can make them physically do the actions, but you can't make someone shift, right? Because I vibrated a higher typically I vibrated a higher vibration over the last couple weeks, because while I was on vacation, my mother-in-law also passed away. We kind of knew it was coming, but she passed away on Wednesday and we came back on Saturday, my daughter and Bugsy and I, and we came back on Saturday. So we still have this lined up this week for this weekend. This upcoming weekend is the funeral. And I knew that was going to be a big trigger for Sienna. And so I think feel like I'm still holding my breath. And so I just have to really work this week on like grounding and centering and dumping things and just being there. And I made sure that she had therapy. I make sure she's got this new psychiatry appointment, make sure, like I'm doing the things that I can do that she's willing to do, not that I'm forcing her to do, that she has asked to have done as well. And so when you vibrate higher, the person who you're trying to encourage to go to therapy or the situation will, if their vibration elevates, they will be able to meet you at that space, right? At that energetic space. But you don't get to pull them to that elevation space, because honestly, it's all you can do to maintain your own damn energy, to vibrate a little bit higher. And some days you're going to vibrate low as hell. And when you vibrate low, like I said, that's where your anxieties live, your depression lives. Of course, there's also a chemical imbalance involved there with depressions and other things. So I'm not poo-pooing that. I'm just saying this adds to it. And so when you start to balance, when you start to do your double journaling, your positive and negative journal, your detox bath, you're setting your crystals outside. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of a sound bowl here later on in this episode, just so you can kind of see, I'm going to kind of balance out your energy a little bit, your third eye. And and you'll kind of see what I mean by that. And some of you will feel it, some of you won't, but it doesn't mean it's not working. And so, that's the big thing, is understanding that energy itself, very often you're trying to vibrate higher, but you don't know how to vibrate higher. So that's creating insecurity. And there isn't a magic pill. There's not a fast way to get there. You have to do the work. What is the work, you ask? Let me tell you. So that is where you're going to want to make sure that every day, you're doing some level of grounding work, your breathing exercises, your positive and negative journal. You also want to be able to, if you do any crystal work, or if you're religious and you do prayer, make sure you do your prayer. Make sure you do some sound bowls. If you do sound bowls, make sure that you're with your crystals. Like, you've got to do that every day. You have to do, like, it's not even like, well, I mean, you should. No, you got to do it every day. Like, if you're trying to focus on your vibration, and then of course it's going to be healing your shadow, right? And right now we have like all these different planets that are in retrograde at the same time, not Mercury. We're finally out of that one. And it's bringing up, it's the wounded healer. And so it's bringing up all of your stuff. So like I said, if you feel like, holy crap, I'm falling back, you're not. It's just bringing more stuff up. And so understanding where that's taking you, and that's to bring things up so you can process them. When you're holding trauma and you're holding past things and you're holding control and you're holding all of these things, you cannot, I don't care, you can ground all damn day. You can meditate, you can walk with Buddha down the street. If you are not willing to process your traumas and bring the things that are the scariest and the most darkest to the surface, you can't vibrate high. Like, I mean, you physically cannot vibrate high. Sure, you can, oh, I'm kind of vibrating a little higher and then I'm falling, because of course you're falling because you're not healing. So that's the whole healing trauma situation. You got to heal your traumas if you want to vibrate high. If I'm honestly, and you do that, of course, in therapies, possible medication, doing your meditations, doing your positive and negative journal. You know, self-love and self-healing, right? It's a pain in the ass. Like, I'm not lying to you. Like, it is a lot of work. You know, it's not like this self-healing journey that you think everybody's like, oh my God, kumbaya, oh my God, this is great. Like, no. I mean, there are tons of elements of that in there, which is amazing. But there's also the pain, the stress, the concern, the fears. All of that is coming to surface, and it has to come to surface, right? And so everything in your life is vibrational. So very often, and like I said in the trailer, I meet a lot of people in my line of work. I meet a lot of people in my business. And luckily, like I'm usually pretty grounded. And when I meet people, I can, like, there's just some clients that I'll just get, and I'll have like one session with them, 5 minutes in. I'm like, oh my God, these are my people. Like, these are my people. And other ones, it's not that they're not my people, but it's like, okay, well, this is where they are. Let me go meet them, because you're going to meet somebody where they are. You don't want them to have to come to you. You meet them to where a person is. You meet them at their energy, especially for the work I do, right? So you meet them at their energy, and you work with them, and then you let them, you kind of like plant the seeds, right? I'm like a gardener. So I give you the seeds to plant, right? And then you got to water them. That means you got to do your work. You got to do that. And whether you're working with me or whether you're working with any other professional in this world that does any kind of mental or energetic work, you got to do the work. Nobody's going to do it for you. Right? Like, nobody's miracle workers. Like, you're not just going to come in. Yeah, sure. You can come in. I'll clear your energy, or I'll do some shadow work with you and you'll feel better, but you got to still integrate it. And the integration is where people struggle. They're like, oh my God, I went and I saw this Reiki person, or I came to you for Reiki, or I went to somebody else for Reiki. Oh my God, I felt great. The next day, or like 3 or 4 days later, I just fell back into the trap. Well, my question would be like, so were you doing some of your integrative work? Like, were you doing your integrative medicine, like integrative meditation? Well, I mean, no. Okay, well, then there's your answer, right? This is a process that if you want your energy to vibrate high, you got to work it. You got to work it. And by working it, I mean, you got to heal it, and you got to heal it at the root. You got to heal it where it hurts. You got to heal it where you want to avoid. You got to walk right through that fire, right through the middle of it, not around it, not above it, not under, right through the middle of it, right through it. Get scorched, feel it, heal it, right? You got to feel to heal. And that is how you're going to elevate your vibration, but it has to be done on a regular basis. And that's what I was saying is, very often, especially if you're not healed, if you're not healing and you're not healed, you can't, it's hard for you to meet somebody where they are, because you don't even know where the hell you are, but you know you're vibrating low. And that's some telltale signs of vibrations of low: anxieties, fears, stresses, concerns. Again, some of it can be chemical, right? Like, some of it can be chemical, but it's also your vibe attracting your tribe. You will hear me say that 150 times, 1,000,000 times a day, is your vibe attracts your tribe, which means if your vibe and you think, oh my God, it's such a vibe. Like, I'm vibing right now. Okay. But you got all the shit you haven't healed. you're not really vibing that high. You might be vibing that high for that minute, but you can't sustain it. So that's why you'll see sometimes you're like, oh my God, I had those great like 3 hours. And then shit, it felt like I just like tanked. Now, I will say when I was in the plane, 40,000 feet in the air on the full moon, I have never felt so more connected to the moon energy in my life. And, I mean, how could I not? Like I'm not really close to the moon. That's dumb, but I'm closer than I would be on Earth, or I mean, down like on the ground. And I will tell you, even if you don't buy into this whole energy thing, which by the way, it's scientifically proven, but if you're like still not buying into it, that's fine. But if you talk to nurses at the hospital, doctors at the hospital or other places, they will tell you, and teachers as well, they will tell you they know when the full moon's coming, even, or if it's a full moon the day before, the day of, and the day after. Even if they never look at a calendar, even if nobody ever says it, they're like, holy crap, what's going on? Oh, it's a full moon. Okay, I got it. Because you remember your body is water, right? Like your body is so much water, and the moon energy controls water. That's why you'll see high tides. That's why you'll see all of these things come in. And so that's what it does, is it kind of like shakes you up, right? You're like, what the hell, man? Like, why is this happening? And that's why those are imperative things and imperative times for you to be understanding what it is, instead of going, oh my God, like I don't understand why my relationships aren't working, or why is it that I always attract people who are emotionally unavailable, or who can't commit, or, well, I guess that's emotionally unavailable, who fill in the blank. Instead of looking at them, instead of saying like, well, why am I attracting those people, right? And thinking it is those people, you're attracting that same energy. So when you look around you and you look and you see where you're vibrating, if you're like, oh my God, I got these quality ass people around me. And I don't mean less than, right? I'm saying like they're really there to support you while still living their lives. Like they're really living their best life and they're super balanced. And you're attracting these people and you're like, oh my God, like things are just falling into place. That's because you're vibrating high. That is because you are vibrating high. Now, flip side of that. Oh my God, I keep attracting all these people and oh my God, I can't catch a break. You're vibrating low. So you can tell your vibrations without even going into your body based on, if you go ahead and look at the 5 people around you, look at 5, and I won't say around you, like sitting beside you, your 5 closest people. Okay. I mean, they can be your parents, but I mean, also outside of them, like your friends or whoever it is that you seem to align with. Look at those 5 people. That's your homework. Look at those 5 people. You can even bump it to 6, but it's technically 5. And see, you know how you're like, okay, well, God, this person's, has a lot going on. This person has a lot going on. And that will happen. Even high vibrators, well, you don't always vibrate high. Like that's unrealistic. You're not going to always vibrate high. You're going to have those shit days that you vibrate super low, lower than you ever had before, but you're going to rebound up, right? But I'm saying on a regular basis, if you like, okay, this is more or less the energy that they're pulling on a steady. Yeah, okay. Well, then now you want to look inside, because you can tell how you're vibrating based on what you got going on around you. Okay. So that's why, and I'm working on this program. I told you guys this before, I think I said it on TikTok or something, is I'm working on a program. No, it's not ready yet because I have not even really implemented it on a level where I could say, okay, I'm really working it and it's working. I'm implementing a program with a lot of, a feedback of people who are like these professional organizers and all of these things, to try to help ADHD people and anxiety people to get organized, like not just the Marie Kondo and Home Edit way, which by the way, love them both. Hello, shout out Netflix. But also other people, right? Like other people who are really like doing it from the psychology perspective. So I'm trying to implement it, because if you check your phone right now, well, don't do it right now because you might be driving. If you're listening to this or whatever, when you're done with me, right, make a little note in your head, go to your email, right? I have like 5 or 6 emails, right? I have a couple business emails and all this stuff. Go to all of them. Go through them. If are you that person who on your iPhone or on your Apple, on your Google phone or whatever, or Droid, do you have a little thing that says like 3,000 unread messages? Or, okay, so that's clutter. And if you look at your surroundings, and I understand, remember, I have OCD, I have ADHD, I got you, I hear you, I have anxiety, I have all of those things. I can tell you I'm looking at my desk right now. Granted, I did go on vacation and I'm back, but I'm looking on my desk and I realize it still looks kind of like how I left it. And it's a little chaotic. Like, I'm not going to bullshit you. It's very chaotic. And that's how my brain was, right? Getting ready for vacation, making sure things need to be done, working on my second book, like all these things. And, I could say I'm busy and I go, okay, it's bullshit. I mean, it isn't bullshit. I am busy, but if you look at your surroundings, that's how your energy vibrates. So if you're cluttered, your energy is going to be low. Okay, lower. Now you can still be balanced and still have a high energy, but in theory, I'll tell you, the way my energy would be the best, and it's what I'm goaling for. And once I can get there, then I can actually offer this to you for some kind of I don't know, downloadable thing or a service or something, which we are not there, I promise. But in my brain, it's somewhat minimalist, not totally minimalist where I'm like, look, I have 3 jackets and like a pot. Like, we're not going to do that. But I mean, really going through like I did before with Marie Kondo and like really going through my stuff, really organizing my stuff, really minimalizing things. Do I use it? Have I used it? I'm not going to need it. Okay, let's repurpose it or let's donate it. And so ideally, that's going to free up space. And when your space is free and clear of clutter, it helps your energy. Okay. Now, there's so many other parts to that, right? Because if you're anxious, you're not going to feel like doing anything. That's fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. Please, God, don't beat yourself up about it at all, because then you're going to be like, oh my God, now I need to clean my house and I don't have the internet. No, just calm down. I'm just saying this is the goal that I'm doing for myself. I am not there. I'm telling you right now, I'm not there. It's actually kind of a shit show in here. And I mean, it's cluttered. And that's because I have so much going on that I realized while I was on vacation, I'm actually going to work on that this week, is really putting together my project plan. Like, okay, this is this task. I'm going to do it in like one of these, is it like Asana? I can't even remember, but it's like something on the computer where I'm going to put together in my, like a project, like these projects, okay, my book, my social media, my podcast, my house, my workout plan, my organizational strategies, I have like 15 other projects. Like I don't really not have a project. And so I need to do that. And then I'm going to figure out which one is the priority. What's the second priority? And then what are the steps to make that happen? So that's ideally what the new plan that I'm going to offer you, the new program that, by the way, not even close to being ready till probably spring or summer of next year. So don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that. But it's allowing myself to actually utilize it and make these notes on what works and what doesn't work. And so I know I need to do that in order to vibrate myself pretty high. And it's hard, right? Like, again, if you go back 2 episodes to the self-harm thing in the house, what's going on, it's hard to vibrate high when other people are vibrating low. Okay. It's kind of like trying to heal in a toxic environment. It's hard, right? It's doable, but it's hard. And luckily, like, I have that strategy, and I'm able to do it, but I got to tell you, it's been like walking in neck deep water with rocks and weights, right? You're like trying to paddle yourself up. So my focus this week is really getting myself back up. Like, I can't worry about everybody else. I can put these things into play. Here's what everybody needs to do. And then I need to elevate me. Like, it has to be me as the priority, because if I'm not good, nobody else is good. And you guys know that that's my motto anyway. But I'm also human. So when things smack me in the face and I was like, holy crap. And I'm still not really like, what the hell? I'm still like, what the hell? So I know that it's really time for me to step up, and that's based on my energy. And I can actually see when my energy fell, because like weird wonky things happened. There were a few things that I was like, I don't know that I want to be aligned with these people. And you know what I mean? So it is definitely something that I would say to you, you want to make sure that you're aware of it, because very often you're looking at all of these people and going, this person doesn't do this. And why does this person? First of all, you don't need somebody's why. That's their vibration, not yours. And so you want it, you don't need it. I mean, you want it, you think you need it, but somebody does not have to share it with you. And so understanding that when you are in that space, you have to stop looking at other people and blaming other people. This person hurt me. This person did this. Listen, you're valid. I hear you. Your feelings are valid. What you're going through is valid. But understand that, and I'm not saying that it's your fault that this happened, right? So don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm just saying your energy vibrates low. It's going to vibrate low energy people and low energy situations. It isn't even just people. So if you take hold and look. And keep in mind, I don't want you to think that 1 minute you're just going to wake up and be like, okay, bam, my energy's high. It's not. It's not. This is a process and it's daily implementation. So I'm going to do this sound bowl with you. Okay. It's just and if you feel it, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too, because it's still going to work. And I'm only going to do I'm going to time it. I'm going to do like 30 seconds of it. I'm going to start here in just a minute and then we're going to do like 30 seconds. So, okay, ready? Take a deep, deep breath. Okay, that was like 15 seconds. So I usually do it much longer than that for myself. And that's just my sound bowl. And everybody asks me like, how can you pick your sound bowl? I always recommend that you go to a place where you can try it out yourself. And also don't get discouraged. A lot of times when you first pick up your first sound bowl, especially if your energy is not balanced, sometimes it's going to be almost impossible to get it to play and get it to sing for you. And don't go overthinking it, but you do want to go and touch your hands on it. So, but that's just a sound, right? And so that sound, it's more of the stomach. That's more of the stomach, like the solar plexus, the sacral. That's more of that area, but it also will get in your head and your ears and stuff. Sometimes you may have felt it, you may not have. But drop by in the Facebook group, the Positivity Experience podcast. You can drop in there and tell me if you felt it, or even on TikTok or Instagram, whatever. But yeah, and you know, it's very, and actually YouTube, because this will be up on YouTube as well. And it's very interesting because I think people misconstrue the power of energy, because you can hear it, but sometimes you can't see it. But I promise you can feel it. I promise you can feel it. You just want it to feel like something. You try to make it obvious with how it feels. So your homework, like I said, is to look at the 5 people around you. Look at the 5 people around you. And look at their energy. Now, know that where that energy is. How do you feel when you're around them? Again, people are going to have shitty days. So I don't want you to be like, oh my God, this person's always happy. No, they're going to have bad days too. Okay. Because they're human beings. But I say on an average, say on a scale of 1 to 10, on an average, where does this person vibrate to you? Like, what do you feel? Do you feel happier when you're with them? Do you feel more distressed when you're with them? Okay. That's their vibration. However, their vibration will only be attracted to the vibration in which you will allow, which is where you're vibrating. So take heed of that, and then start with doing these things. Do the positive and negative journal. You want to, and it's a stream of consciousness, right? You don't have to date it and all that stuff. Just put everything positive in one, everything in negative in another, and don't be alarmed when you have to fill up 5 negative journals and 3 pages of a positive journal. Like it's literally okay. This is called being aware. It's called being positive in the present space. It's called staying now, right? And so doing that, making sure that you're doing your breathing exercises, your grounding. If you do prayer, do prayer. If you use crystals, use crystals. But it has to be a daily practice. And I've told you, and I will say this to you 100 times, do not tell me you don't have time. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. It doesn't have to be an all-day process. 10 minutes out of the day. I mean, I'd like more, like 30 to 45 to an hour, but I'm happy with 10. If that's where we got to start, do 10. Get up earlier, go to bed later. Surf less on internet. Turn the TV off 10 minutes earlier, right? These are things that you can do if you're willing to put the effort forward. And energy, it takes time. That's why it's integrative. And I promise I will do more of these. If this is the kind of podcast that you like to, we will still do psychology. We'll do all of that, but we will always do some level of how can you balance yourself. And I'll do more binaural beats and stuff like that. So promise you that will happen. But yeah, drop into my YouTube as well. This should be up on my YouTube, and it's the Positivity Experience also on YouTube. And I will make sure that you have that link in this, in the show notes here, and drop in there and let me know if you kind of like this kind of like energy stuff. If you want to know more about it, what specifically do you want to know? Just because it really helps, because I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys things that you want to hear. And a lot of people have requested this type of, content for this podcast. So I wanted to make sure to give everybody what it is that they needed. So work on your energy. Look around you before you start blaming everybody else. Go, oh crap, snap, this is where I am. wow, okay, I got it. Like, this is where my energy is. So with that being said, guys, I love you guys, and I hope that you guys have an amazing week. But make sure you take your deep breath, everybody together. Hold it. Exhale. Okay. It's not that deep. It is what it is. Make sure that you do have some integrative plans here. And yeah, rock the week.